How is it going, guys? My name is OnesieBanette and welcome back to a very, very late and belated Week 4 versus NecroStevo and the Eterna City Enders. And before I even start talking about any kind of Pokemon stuff, the reason that I haven't been uploading so much is because I currently have an infected wisdom tooth and tonsillitis, which is not fun in the slightest because it means that it hurts to talk. In fact, right now my wisdom tooth is absolutely killing me. It was literally not about 10 seconds ago, but I started recording and then it was like, oh wow, I'm gonna start causing you pain, ha ha ha. So this is gonna be interesting. But yeah, like it's been quite a while and it's just not gone away, and I kept thinking, right, I'll wait one more day and it will go away, I'll wait one more day, it will go away, and then I'll be able to come back, and I haven't been able to do anything about it, because every time I've tried to record like an update video, it started hurting, and I've been like, no, I can't do this. But I'm making sure that I at least get matches I'm missing up, because I need to. But yeah, I'm actually going back to uni tomorrow, which will be the 17th. So that will be interesting considering I still have all this pain. I'm actually just going up to drop my stuff off and then coming straight back down for EGX, but I just want this pain to go away. But yeah, I have rewatched the matches, so I'm not going into this blind. But yeah, the team I'm bringing is, oh god, physically offensive Max HP Gramble with Intimidate, Scarf Volcanion, physically defensive Swords Dance with Sandslash, Stealth Rock attacking Ferrothorn with Bulldoze and Power Whip, especially attacking like speedy, bulky McQuick, Mega Latios with Psychic and Roost, and Hidden Power Fighting to hit the Weavile. And we have physically defensive Hariyama to take on the Weavile as well, because Weavile is a huge threat. Now, looking at his team immediately, honestly, at the start of the match when I was thinking this, I didn't think that I had too bad of a matchup at all. Like, at all, in the slightest. And I thought, oh, you know what, I've actually prepped pretty well here. Mega Latios can actually kind of run through the team if I'm getting rid of the Weavile. Like, if I can get rid of Weavile and Mega Blastoise, I can possibly really, really do damage here. But, yeah, you're going to see as the match starts that something quite interesting tends to happen, because the team he's brought is Blastoise, Magneton, Gardevoir, Rhyperior, Weavile, and Primeape. So yeah, I figured that the best lead I had for this match was Gramble, and that's exactly what I'm going to decide to lead with, because it just stops Primeape dead and Weavile. So let's see what happens when Eterna City Enders take on Birmingham Spritzee in Week 4 of the Pokémon Premier League. Necro is issuing a challenge, and as you'll see, he leads off with Fisticles, the Primeape, and this right here immediately made me think and change my perspective, because I get the Intimidate off, and then this happens. And I'm going to pause that right there, because that really indicated a huge mentality shift for me. I had prepped thinking, oh, Gramble just shuts down Primeape. I'd completely forgotten that Primeape not only gets Iron Tail and Gunk Shot, it gets Defiant as well. So Intimidate can't even stop that. In fact, it helps it. So immediately from turn 1, I was here thinking, I am screwed. I cannot win this match. What the hell do I do? So I just had to hope and pray that he'd had the same kind of mess up as I did. I forgot that it had Defiant. I didn't even look at it. And that is terrible prep on my part, and I'm very upset with that. So, as you can see, he's just going to go for the U-turn, indicating that he hasn't brought the Gunk Shot or the Iron Tail, because if he had, he would have just gone for it right there and just taken me out turn 1, because I had nothing that wanted to take either of them. And as you can see, it's not going to do too much, but it is a +1, and he's going to go straight out into Rhyperior. And this thing's going to take a Play Rough from me, from a Max Attack Adamant Gramble, and eat it up. And that shows to me that this is probably a physically defensive Rhyperior, so I'm going to go on the assumption that that's what this is. And if it is, I don't know why I made the next play. As you're going to see, I'm going to switch out here, and what you're thinking, right, he's going to go out into the Sandslash because it's physically defensive, and it can pretty much just Swords Dance up all over this thing. Aren't you? Yeah, and if you were, you'd be right. But you're wrong, because for some reason I decided that, oh, I have a Hariyama, that can hit it for super effective damage. So he gets his Stealth Rocks up, and I'm like, I really shouldn't have gone into Hariyama there, because I needed Hariyama for later as a way of possibly taking hits from Weavile, Primeape, and what do you call it? Friggin' Mega Blastoise. So I'm going to go for close combat. It's going to do nothing, and he's going to go for an Earthquake onto a -1 defense Hariyama, and even with no attack investment, that's going to friggin' hurt. And now my only Weavile check has been halved. I am screwing at this point, thinking, why am I doing this? But I tried to compose myself. I'm thinking, right, what's the best play? What's the best play here? Go into Sand Slash. Do not give this thing a reason to, you know, just eat your life. So he's going to go for another Earthquake, and this is a stab Earthquake from a Rhyperior. Doesn't do as much as I'd expect, because I am physically defensive. Chicharito is a female, and it should be Makeda, but it's not. But yeah, it's going to get the, oh god, it's going to get the leftovers recovery back up, and I'm going to go for the Earthquake, just to test out exactly how much damage I'm doing here. I'm doing about 30-35% there. And he's going to go for another Earthquake, and that's looking like another one's going to kill me. That's looking like another one's going to end up taking me out. I get the leftovers up, and I feel like, right, if I'm going down here, I'm gonna get your rocks away. I'm not letting you put those rocks up against me. So I'll go for the Rapid Spin, hoping he's gonna take me out with another Earthquake. But Necro is clever. Necro is very clever, because he's gonna go now for the Stealth Rock, predicting me to spin on him. And here marks a couple of turns where all he's going to do is put up Stealth Rocks, and all I'm going to do is spin. And the reason that these couple of turns are happening is because I need rocks off my side of the field for Volcanion to be an effective offensive presence, because I can't have his presence hampered every time he switches in. So I need to keep trying to get these rocks off the field as soon as possible. I can't let this Rhyperior keep them on the field. If that means Sandslash goes down, so be it, but I can't let him keep these rocks on the field. So we're essentially playing a big game of chicken, because he's just going to keep going for these Stealth Rocks. I'm going to keep going for my spin. And the good information from this point is that I do outspeed him. So I kind of have the... I'm in the driving seat right now, because if I go for a stealth... If I go for a rapid spin here... Well, if I go for an Earthquake here and he puts the rocks back up, I'm pretty much in a position where I can just keep him pressured. I can keep him pressured. And he has to keep going for the Stealth Rocks. He can't afford to go for Earthquake or anything else. Because if he goes for an Earthquake here and I go for my Stealth Rocks, then I can just knock him out a couple of turns later with Earthquake. I'm actually in the driving seat. I have the stab Earthquake. I hit him super effectively, but I get bored. And I go for a Swords Dance, thinking, you know what? You're just going to keep going for Stealth Rocks, so I'm just going to get a free +2 on you. It's fine. And at this point, I one-shot it. I can take it out from where it is with +2. And he suddenly panics, which is actually really good for me, because at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to Rapid Spin on you. +2 Rapid Spin. Let's see how much this does. Hey, I chinked it! And he's going to go for an Earthquake, thinking, well, I already have my rocks up. There's nothing else I can do. I might as well just Earthquake him. And that puts me down into a range where another Earthquake's going to kill me. But I now have his rocks away, which is fantastic. And I don't know if this is going to kill. Now, this Earthquake here, as you're going to see, is going to... It looks like it might be a roll, because I'm not sure how much the first Earthquake actually did. But it's looking like it could be a bit of a roll. I'm not sure whether I'll take it out, but I go for the Earthquake at +2 anyway, because I'm thinking if he goes for his rocks again, we can just go back to the Rapid Spin game, and I do kill it. So Sandslash does the job it was brought for, and takes out Rhyperior, and keeps the rocks off the field, and gets itself up to 80 HP. So it's not done terribly, but now comes the bane of my life. He gets a free switch here into the Mega Blastoise. It's not Mega'd yet, but it's going to outspeed me, and it's going to go for a Water Pulse or a Scald, as I predicted, and kill me. So I predict the Scald, the Water move, and go into Volcanion. Jesus Christ. This is when I realised I'd messed up. Because he goes for the Dark Pulse, and that does over half. And I'm like, oh, what was the point of getting his Stealth Rocks? Because now I'm already halved. So I just do what I should have done anyway, and stay in and go back into Chicharito to sacrifice it off, because... Luckily, he does reveal the Aura Sphere, which is fantastic news for him, because now he can hit Ferrothorn. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have to hope and pray that I can live a couple of Dark Pulses, or one Dark Pulse, and I go into Saltator and go for a Psychic. As you can see here, I'm going to go for a Psychic, and it's going to do just about over half, so that kind of proves to me it's not necessarily the bulkiest of Mega Blastoises. That's looking like a roll to be a 2-hit KO. He goes for the Dark Pulse, and I'm like, I lived it at least. But now I'm thinking, right, he's got two choices for the switch in here. He's got Gardevoir, which I have the Shadow Ball for, and he has Weavile. Now, Necro at the moment, I don't know why, but I expected him to do the same thing that Raikou did in Season 1 of the PPL. Raikou was up against my Reuniclus with his Vaporeon. I was going for Psyshock, it was doing over half, he was just wish-stalling it. And on the correct turn that he switched out into Sneasel predicting my Psyshock, I went for a Focus Blast. I expected Necro to do the same kind of thing here, and go out with his Water type into his Sneasel or his Weavile, and I clicked the Hidden Power Fighting, and as you can see I got it wrong, because he goes out into Annabelle and goes, that's his Gardevoir, that has Trace, that's now resisting any Earthquakes. I go for the Hidden Power Fighting, and that does Pittance. Honestly, I expected it to do Pittance anyway, but something else I should have noticed, that did a little bit too little. That's an Assault Vest Gardevoir. Because that should have at least done a little bit more than that. I didn't even look about it. Like, I didn't even think about it during game. I was like, that's too small of a calc. I can't judge that. I just assumed that him fighting from an unstab Mega Latios isn't going to do too much. But I go for the Shadow Ball here, thinking, oh, it's going to do about half. There's nothing. And he's able to kill me off with a Moonblast, and that's the 4th game in a row where Mega Latios has not done anything. So I'm like, ah, God. I've messed up too many times already. But this is a free switch to go into Undor. And I have to predict here, I have to predict he's either going to stay in and have the Hidden Power Fire, which if he's Assault Vest, the possibility of him having a Hidden Power Fire or a Focus Blast when he's a Gardevoir are very high, because he's Assault Vest right now, so he can't have anything like Toxic or Moonlight or anything like that, any crap like that. He has to have 4 attacking moves, and Hidden Power Fire or Moonblast should be high on that list. So I predict him to kind of stay in and go for it, thinking, oh, Gardevoir's not really going to do much anymore, and he switches out into the one thing I didn't want him to switch out into, and he goes out into the Magneton. And I'm like, oh, why did I Power Whip a Magneton? And that damage shows me that's Eviolite. And he goes for the Hidden Power Fire. I know I can live 1. And honestly, I got my speed calcs completely wrong, because I go for the Bulldoze and I'm like, yes, okay, we lived it. We've got it down to -1. We can outspeed it next turn, kill it with another Bulldoze, and that's Magneton out of the way with some death fodder for Mega Blastoise later on. We've done well here. No, we haven't. Because he goes for the Hidden Power Fire. I got my speed tiers wrong. I thought Magneton was base 50 for some reason when it's actually base 70, and that we lost Ferrothorn there. We couldn't have switched out anyway, we were trapped. It was just bad prep. It wasn't bad play, it was bad prep. But I got into Volcanion to revenge it with a Fire Blast, and yeah, that's all I can do. But by going out into Volcanion, I've just invited in the one thing that just eats my team right now. Mega Blastoise. And honestly, I should have looked at his matchup. I should have looked at the matchup and realised, you know what? Volcanion, you're not doing much, because he has Assault Vest Trace Gardevoir that can switch into Steam Eruptions and Fire Blasts all day long. He has this thing, which I can't really take out, because it's a Volcanion and it's a Mega Blastoise. I can't break through it. What else did he have at this point? He had the Weavile, which you can outspeed, but you can't kill with Steam Eruption. So you have to be locked into Fire Blast for it. And he also had the Primeape, which outsped you anyway. So I should have just let Volcanion go down here, but me being a silly sausage, decided to switch into Hariyama because reasons. I don't even understand why I did this. It was the only thing I had left that could possibly take a hit up from where it was from Mega Blastoise. It was the only thing I had. I could pressure the rest of his team with my coverage, and yet I just switched it into 2 Aurus Fizz and let it die, because I was still thinking that Volcanion can be the win con, when he'd prepped beautifully for it. But now I'm forced to go out into Gramble because I think I can live a Scold at this point and kill it with Play Rough. But he's just going to switch out here, preserving it, and he's going to go straight out into the Gardevoir, which he knows can take one because he's got max HP investment, and he's also got Trace, which is being very annoying, tracing my Intimidate and dropping my attack by 1. And Play Rough is now not going to kill the Gardevoir, which I think it would have if it wasn't -1. I'm not sure. I think he probably would have lived it. But now I'm just like, what do? Well, I think I've lost at this point anyway, so I have to try and be a little bit more aggressive. I predict his Moonblast, and I go out to Dougray knowing that a Sludge Bomb can kill from the range it's at. And I get it right. I actually got a prediction right. I switch in on the Moonblast with Dougray, and he's going to drop my attack. Which is actually very important, because now this Sludge Bomb is not going to kill a Gardevoir, which is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And Dougray's just going to go down like that. And that Sludge Bomb, all it did really was turn a 4-0, a 2-0 into a 3-0, as you can see, because I'm just going to have to switch back out into Gramble. I know I can take a Moonblast unless he crits me. And he's going to go for the Moonblast. It's going to do a decent chunk crit. And he gets another Wisp attack drop, which doesn't matter, but I'm going to kill him with a Play Rough. And that's Gardevoir down at least. That's a 3-0 at least, because now he can just go out to make a Blastoise or Weavile. And he gets to choose what he wants to kill me with here. He gets to pick his poison. And he's going to go out to Boxius Maxius, and he's just going to finish him off with the Scold. The first time the Blastoise has used water coverage all game, and that's just going to finish the match off for me. The crit did not matter in the slightest. And honestly, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say about this game, because I'm going to pause it here, because the recording's going to end in a minute, but I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say here, because I honestly thought, looking at the matchup, I'd prepped well, but I played like arse. And I'm not really sure what else I'm supposed to do about a couple of those turns. It was such an enigma, this match was. The only explanation that me and Necro could come up with was that the match was decided as soon as we'd picked our 6 Pokemon. As soon as we'd picked our 6 Pokemon, because if he'd been a little bit more clever with Primeape, he could honestly have just killed my Gramble turn 1, and then just proceeded to, you know, rip through the rest of my team with Primeape in close combat. Because the only thing that would really be checking it had been gone, and nothing else on my team could really one-shot it. Volcanion can't kill it with a Scarf unless it's modest, and it's not modest, so. And then, I think I prepped a little bit too lightly for Mega Blastoise. I didn't really consider this thing much of a threat, and I'm not sure why I didn't, because look at the damage it did do. It killed half my team. Well, I think 4 members of the team, because I think it killed Hariyama, it killed Gramble, it killed Sandslash, and I know it didn't kill anything else. But it still ripped through my team. And it's very frustrating because there were a lot of Pokemon on this team I could have packed coverage to hit it with. I could have packed the Thunderbolt on Mega Latios. I could have packed the Thunder Punch on Hariyama, but Hariyama had close combat, which hit it harder anyway. I could have packed HP Grass on Volcanion, but I didn't. I went for the Sludge Wave and the Earth Power instead. I could have even packed Thunderfang or something on Gramble, but there are a lot of opportunities for me to team build against this thing. I mean, I could have even brought Gengar, which had Thunderbolt and Energy Ball, which really could have hurt him, but I was terrified of Pursuit Weavile. I don't think I prepped very well for this game looking back on it. I was too worried about offensive pressure and trying to keep rocks off the field, so I brought Sandslash for that, and Sandslash was probably the only mon that did its job correctly. Hariyama was meant to take hits from Weavile, and Weavile didn't even hit the field before it died. Ferrothorn was supposed to kind of be a little bit of a bait for the Magneton, and I didn't give it the right EVs, so that's a bit shit. Ferrothorn really could have put a lot of work through this team, to be honest, because we look at what he had. If I'd have bulldozed on the switch, I could have killed the Magneton. If I'd have got that thing out the way, then I don't know. But anyway, I could have even just brought a different Volcanion set. I could have brought Specs. That thing would have hit a lot harder. I could have bluffed the Scarf for a bit, and then I would have probably been able to take out the Gardevoir at the end. But that didn't happen. Granbull could have done a lot of work as well, but I completely forgot about Defiant Primeape. I should have brought Quick Feet to counteract that, but I didn't think. I was just more focused on, oh, I get the attack drop on you. No, you don't. He gets Defiant, but... oh, well, Necro played... he didn't even need to make any plays or anything. He just prepped too well for me. He didn't really need to make any plays. The one play I think he did make was switching in the Magneton, but that was just safe switches. He just played safely. That's the only way I can put it. He didn't make any kind of risky doubles or anything. He didn't need to. He just prepped well and then proceeded to execute a game plan against me, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do against teams that are lower down the table. You're supposed to realize they have weaknesses in their teams, and you're supposed to execute game plans against them. And that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, this game did. It really did. But anyway, next week, we're going to be playing against the guy I always love to play against, because I always feel that I have a chance against him. He's one of the few people I always feel very confident against. And I'm really looking forward to it. We play Sam, who is top of the table, undefeated with his Newcastle United. Now, doesn't this seem a little bit familiar? That's what happened last season. We play Sam when he's top of the table, undefeated. And we have a great chance here because we have, in my opinion, a better team than last season. And I'm finally starting to get used to it. And I'm thinking there's a couple of Mons in this team who don't need to be on the team anymore. Don't need to be in the squad. I have a couple of changes lined up that will be happening after my match with Sam, and I will reveal them in the next video. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've appreciated that I've tried my hardest even though I'm ill, and I hope that you can forgive the absence in videos. As soon as I'm back up to full health, there will be definitely a return of a schedule, probably not daily uploads anymore because they're not really very motivating, but I feel like I need to do something again. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to leave a like and all that good stuff. And I hope you have a great day and a great life. And I will see you later. Take care of yourselves.